Hello and welcome to the GhostÉire Channel. My name is Anthony Kerrigan, and tonight I am presenting a talk called Paranormal Investigation Outlawed. It will consist of a trip to the past, present, and future, delving into the regulation of laws made by governing authorities and territories, the media's influence and advancement of artificial intelligence with the roles they play in paranormal investigating, spiritual awareness, and contacting the dead. So I'll be presenting a talk. As you can see, it's Paranormal Investigation Outlawed. I'd like to thank Ashley Dartwood for the picture. As you can see, he's pictured as the highwayman. So if you have any questions for me, you can put them forward on this live stream. You can also go to our website, www.ghostére.net. Go to the contact page, fill in the blanks. If you have a personal message, just put in brackets private message. If you're affiliated with any paranormal group or tourist attraction, feel free to name the group or the organization, and we'll also give a shout out to you. We're coming live here through Facebook, but also on our channel, the GhostÉire Channel, via our website, www.ghostére.net. You see there on the homepage, the red button, GhostÉire Channel. Just click on that, and that'll bring you to the live feed. You'll also be able to catch past shows and see what's coming up on the future from there. So there's going to be little sections, intervals in between, say about 10 minutes intervals, about up to there. If you have any questions, then I can go through them with you there. A few shout outs, Jonathan. Hi, from County Fermanagh. How are you doing, Jonathan? Hope you're all keeping well as well. It's brilliant there. So I think that's about it there. So I'm going to start off the presentation. It's Paranormal Investigation Outlawed, and this is going to be for 10 minutes there. So enjoy it. Sit back. Hi, Mary from Things Paranormal. How are you doing? I hope you're all keeping well, yourself and Shane. Hope you're having a great weekend. Yes, so this is the start of the presentation. This is going to be very interesting. So we're going to be delving into the past first. So here we go. Well, hello and welcome. And this presentation that I'm going to deliver to you today is called Paranormal Investigation Outlawed. I'd like to welcome you all to this presentation and hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them forward in between the interval time. So I'm just going to talk about myself. My name is Anthony Kerrigan. I am a member of a paranormal psychical study group called GhostÉire. Established in 2009, we have travelled all over the Isle of Ireland, reaching out beyond the veil, delving into the minds of numerous spirit beings, yet managing to maintain rational thinking towards strange phenomena. We honour the traditional spiritual divination practices such as seances, dowsing, automatic drawing and writing, as well as observing psychological and physiological behaviours of individuals on our team, and even those from the spirit world. In addition, we analyse environmental factors which may contribute to supernatural phenomena. Collecting information and data is influential in evaluating our haunting. We have written 2 books based on the subject: The Rising of Haunted Ireland 2016 and Drowned Out Voices in 2022, both published under the manuscript publisher under Oscar Duggan. We have appeared on such TV shows as Spooked Ireland and Expedition X on Discovery Plus. We are presently have a series out called Phantasm Collective. It's available on Powerflix at the moment, and it's also on Prime UK. You can watch it from those streaming services. We hosted the first paranormal convention in Ireland for over 10 years, the Day of the Unexplained, back in 2023. Furthermore, we interview respected people involved in the paranormal for Tina Field on our own podcast show, GhostÉire Channel, which is currently into its 5th season. Besides me, my colleague and wife Jennifer Kerrigan is in charge of the group, also in cooperation with our friend Sinead Houlihan. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey. First, we will take a look at some events and cases in history which have led to people being condemned, either in regards to alleged occult practices, fakery, or mistreatment of another individual. The witch trials, 1400 to 1944. So we have the Lancashire Witch Trial, 1612, the Salem Witch Trial, 1692, and the Magee Witch Trial of 1711. I will give a brief assessment of each of the three aforementioned witch trials. So we are going to go back in time. And the year is 1612. The Lancashire witch trials took place in 1612. It saw 10 people found guilty of witchcraft and hanged. This included Elizabeth Device, Alison Device, James Device, Anne Whittle, Anne Redfern, known as the Pendle Witches, along with others charged: Isabel Roby, Alice Nutter, Catherine Hewitt, Jane Balcock, and her son John Balcock. Elizabeth Simmons, one of the accused Pendle Witches, otherwise known as Demdike, the mother of Elizabeth Device and grandmother of Alison Device, died whilst awaiting trial at Lancaster Castle. Surprisingly, the key witness for the prosecution against the defendants was Elizabeth Device's 9-year-old daughter, Janet Device. So we're going to push on a little bit more forward. And we're going to 1692. There are believed to be many factors which gave rise to the mass hysteria with the Salem witch trials. The Smithsonian Magazine mentioned it was fueled by xenophobia, religious extremism, and long-brewing social tensions. The Salem witch trials took place between February 1692 and May 1693, a total of 15 months. Over 200 people were accused. 4 out of 5 of them were women. 20 were found guilty and executed, 19 by hanging, and the other, Giles Corey, was pressed to death under the weight of heavy stones. So now we're going to go just a bit more further forward in time. And we're going to go to 1711. The Ireland Magee witch trials were believed to be the last witch trial to take place in Ireland. Again, Like other witch trials, it was sparked off by claims of sorcery and witchcraft. And Mrs. Holdrich, on the behalf of her 18-year-old daughter, Mary Dunbar, accused 8 women of visiting Mary in a spectral form. Mary was considered to be showing signs of demonic possession, such as swearing, shouting, blasphemy, fits, and vomiting household items. Aided by the local authorities, Mary picked out the 8 women: Janet Carson, Janet Latimer, Janet Main, Janet Miller, Margaret Mitchell, Catherine McCalmont, Janet Liston, and Elizabeth Seller. The 8 women were tried and convicted in March 1711. Mary had further attacks and blamed them on a William Seller, husband of Janet Liston and father of Elizabeth Seller. Mary died in April, and of September in that very same year, Michael was also tried and convicted. There are no further details on what became of the 9 individuals found guilty, as the records were most probably burnt during the Irish Civil War between 1922 and 1923. Because of the Irish Witchcraft Act of 1586, we can assume the 8 women most probably spent 1 year imprisoned due to the cause of Mary's injury, yet William's outcome may have been more severe, and most likely be endured a punishment by death as the consequence of Mary's sudden passing after she had pointed the finger at him. That's just the first segment. We're just touching back on those 3 witchcraft laws there. So we're going to be turning into the next part there. I hope everyone can see me or hear me. Well, everyone can hear me anyway, though. So we go, if there's no questions, we'll go on to the second bit. We're following on with the laws in the past. And so here it is. One second. Make sure it's the right video. Yeah, it should be the right video. And associated with it. So we're going to go into the time machine again. Let's see where it takes us. Helen Duncan, 1944. The Blitz Witch. Helen MacFarlane was born in Perthshire, Scotland in 1897. She was nicknamed Hellish Nell because she could see spirits. She married Henry Duncan in 1916. By 1926, she went on from using her clairvoyance abilities to being a physical medium by producing ectoplasm, a slimy substance, from her mouth and nose, which was believed to be the primary stage of the spirit materializing. Audiences in her seance shows could now see and touch these spirit bodies. In 1928, photographer Harvey Metcalf took pictures at Helen's seances, which revealed the spirit matter to be fake, nothing more than a doll made from papier-mâché mask draped in linen. In 1931, Harry Price, magician and psychical researcher, investigated Helen and found the ectoplasm to be merely cheesecloth and egg whites, and the spirit hand to be a housemaid's rubber glove. At a seance in Portsmouth in 1941, during World War II, Helen seemingly channeled a sailor who told her that the British battleship HMS Barham had been sunk. The sinking was kept quiet to the public for some time after the ship was torpedoed off the coast of Egypt. Yet relatives did get letters of condolence, and it was later revealed that information in regards to the naval disaster had been leaked before the British government could announce it. 2 years later, she was back in Portsmouth for another show when she was arrested midway through by a disguised police officer. She was initially charged under Section 4 of the Vagrancy Act of 1824, but this was later retracted for a more serious charge under Section 4 of the Witchcraft Act of 1735. She was tried at London's Old Bailey in 1944 and found guilty for fraudulent witchcraft. She was sentenced to 9 months in prison and is the last person to be jailed under the Witchcraft Act of 1735. So we've got to go a bit more forward in time again, into the time machine. Joseph and Anne Michel, 1978. The Anneliese Michel Trial. Anneliese Michel, 1952 to 1976, was born in Germany. She was raised by her parents, Joseph and Anna, who were devoted to the Roman Catholic faith. At the age of 16 years old, she was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. She became a student at Wolfsburg University at the age of 20. It was around this time that her hallucinations became more frequent and she started hearing voices. Anneliese would later go through the ordeal of 67 exorcisms in the attempt to get rid of 6 demons in the year leading up towards her death. Afterwards, a parapsychologist report stated that she had died from malnutrition and dehydration. Her parents and the 2 priests involved in performing the exorcisms were charged with negligent homicide. We are familiar with these cases, and as you can see, they are connected to the Western world. Thankfully, the legal system's views on the paranormal have changed in these regions. More or less, the focus is on trickery rather than sorcery, but this may not be entirely considered on a global scale. We know that demographics can play a major part: a person's age, race, and gender, where a person is born, their religious and social upbringing, and also laws can affect how they lead their lives and subsequently differ their openness and opinion on the supernatural. In countries such as Saudi Arabia, fortune-telling is punishable by death, as it is forbidden in the Islam teaching. Other religions opposed to this particular practice include Christianity, Judaism, and Bahaism. However, in some cultures around the world, magic and other aspects of the occult are acceptable. Divination is widespread in Africa for religious and medicinal purposes. Another example is Dhyam, a ritual in India where a Hindu god or goddess is invited into the body in the form of mediumship or channeling. Now, paranormal investigating might not be penalized in some territories, yet it can be still disapproved by so many. We take a look at the unfortunate passing of paranormal investigator and UFO field researcher Gaurav Tiwari. Gaurav was born to a traditional Hindu family. He began his working life as an actor before taking on a career in aviation as a commercial pilot. This took him to America. It was whilst he was in a shared apartment in Florida that he experienced at first hand the supernatural, unexplainable occurrences. It piqued his interest, and so he joined the Paranexus Anomalous Research Association and received a degree in metaphysical and paranormal research. Gaurav returned to India in 2009 and founded the Indian Paranormal Society. He would make 11 television appearances on MTV's Girls' Night Out in 2010. His popularity grew in India, so much so an influx of people joined his newly set up academy, Ghost Research and Investigators of the Paranormal, otherwise known as GRIP, which offered educational studies in the metaphysics and paranormal. He became the first person in India to organize a professional ghost tour in 2012. It was his international debut in Haunting Australia, which first aired on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2014, that enlarged his fan base globally and earned him utmost respect and attention from paranormal investigators and enthusiasts worldwide. Regrettably, Gaurav was found dead at his home on July the 8th, 2016. Fallacious speculation arose in the media and by paranormal enthusiasts that Gaurav's death was caused by vengeful spirits, yet nothing could be further from the truth. Following an autopsy, details revealed Gaurav's untimely death was the hallmark of suicide. Gaurav died from asphyxiation as a result of hanging himself inside his bathroom. A police investigation found that Gaurav had no major projects lined up for the future, and what projects he had brought in little money, but it was barely enough. It led to arguments with his family, and as claimed by the police, his family in fact wanted him to take up a conventional job. A news article from the Economic Times reported a senior police stating that Tiwari's family members were not happy with his ghost-busting activities, often late into the night, as he was not earning much. It is accepted that being a paranormal investigator doesn't offer much financial prosperity, nor does it fall into any stereotypical job bracket. Yet again, that's other people's views on it. Nonetheless, until an overall government authority is established to employ genuine paranormal investigators on a full or part-time basis, then we have to remain with the tag Ghostbusters and try to cope with the stigma. Okay, yeah. So if you have any questions there, folks, feel free to put them forward to me there. This is probably fallen in line with sort of the recent sad news of Dan Riviera of New England Society of Psychic Research with the passing and with the Annabelle doll. We can't jump to conclusions with what has happened in that situation there. And most of the time, when we look at these aspects of, like, according to like the Annabelle doll brings bad luck, you're more or less going to associate bad luck with that object more than the positive stuff with that object. So when you're looking at like traveling to Lourdes, for example, in France to healing properties and being terminally ill, people only relate to the miracles that happen, the positive stuff with that place. It's the opposite kind of attraction, as you could say. So we're gonna, if you all, hopefully you're all listening and you all can hear it. We're going to touch on to the next bit, which is we're going to be coming up to a bit more of the present. So hope you're enjoying this. This is a bit different. Here we go. So another few minutes time there. I can take more questions, or if you have any views or statements, feel free to put them forward. For the next segment, we're going to address current issues. How is paranormal investigating behaving? Are there more people channeling or being possessed? The public in the Western world have become more open-minded to the subject of paranormal investigating. The Christian faith in general has seen the number of parishioners come to church decline in recent years. Maybe this has to do with sexual abuse cases, social awareness, and even technology at our fingertips. It is apps on our phones or other devices that has opened up the ability for some people to do paranormal investigating on a very low budget, and as well present the opportunity to collect authentic evidence on the spot, such as taking photographs, videos, or audio recordings. In addition, ghost hunting tools can be bought over the internet, mainly from companies based in the USA and UK. These manufacturers saw a gap in the market for dazzling Christmas lights, broken radios, and obsolete Microsoft Xbox Kinect cameras. Social media platforms such as YouTube are, and at present, attract the younger population, most of which are disillusioned with the upper echelons in society, celebrities, and even self-proclaimed experts in the paranormal field, which can be bad and yet a good thing. Attributes needed to be a YouTube paranormal investigator influencer. Regular videos weekly is preferred. Investigate anywhere. This includes abandoned buildings mostly. Main title has to include one of these foreign words: demon, asylum, terrifying, scary, conjuring, or cursed. And also, make sure to pull off your best orgasm expression for the thumbnail video poster. Now here's a few of those thumbnails. All right, sorry now, folks. The last one was that wasn't just for my sense of humour. That was just a different type of thumbnail picture. The good thing about YouTube paranormal investigator influencers is that it stops people buying extraordinary prices for streaming packages on TV, which quite frankly are there just for entertainment purposes. One subscription service is Discovery, operated by motion picture company Warner Brothers, which has produced a large amount of crap paranormal shows in recent years. I could talk about a couple of production companies that I worked with, but that is for another point in time. Yet the next issue is this: why do so many, 6,000 people in total, give this amount of money to these people? They are Chelsea Layden, Dakota Layden, Tanner Wiseman, and Alex Schroeder. This is Project Fear, a group of youngsters that run Discovery Network as Destination Fear, now applying their trade on YouTube and asking people to donate for a good cause so that they swan around nationally and internationally on your hard-earned cash. If you're lucky, you may be sent a signed rubber duck as a generous gratitude for contributing. Some haven't received that gift. I think they shouldn't build their hopes up. The advent of dark tourism has played a major part in charming sections of the paranormal fraternity too. The owners and establishments overseeing historical venues have greeted paranormal investigators now more than ever before for a variety of reasons. One is for intrigue, to see what really is around, or possibly for media attention, to allure people to come and visit. Another motivation is that they can acquire a payment for ghost hunts to take place on their property. On the whole, this is done for the purposes of upkeep and maintenance of a building, as the price of materials and fees for work time have shot up. Because of the rising cost of living, several buildings have been left idle, open up the doors and windows for trophy urban and rural explorers. Presently, with this comes a divide in ethics on how a paranormal investigation is conducted. Should the title paranormal investigator be only for those who seek legitimate anomalous behavior, or be assigned to those who create horror shows? The disrespect to be wandering on private property would not be accepted in other countries around the world. It just doesn't happen. Take Japan, for instance, where surprisingly paranormal investigating is not so common. Being this intrusive may end you up in serious trouble with authorities. And in this day and age, when people are coming into the country to be housed in inadequate buildings, it would be deplored by many governing the state should anyone be found walking around the property prior to the new occupants' arrival. How long should you wait to make contact with a deceased person? There is no definitive answer. You may seek comfort in trying it with a recently passed loved one. Nonetheless, there are paranormal investigators out there who reach out beyond the veil after someone has died, mainly a celebrity or head of state. In late October, about a year and a half ago, a TikToker, medium, Josh Hope, reputedly made contact with a friend star, Matthew Perry, only a few hours after the actor's death. There were complaints made by many, saying that it was too early to be doing it. Hope asked Perry, did he die from a heart attack in a jacuzzi at his home in Los Angeles? Apparently, the spirit of Perry implied that the exertion of playing a 2-hour game of pickleball earlier that day did it for him. I don't know if spirits can self-diagnose their own demise. Los Angeles medical experts confirmed in a toxicology report that Perry's death was a complex situation. It was revealed he had been suffering from heart disease and was taking buprenorphine to combat his drug addiction and ketamine for depression and anxiety. These drugs can affect the heart. However, they may have caused him to be disorientated and his reaction slower, as it was also found that drowning contributed to his death. It is only in recent months that 5 people have been charged for supplying and administering Perry the ketamine. So whether it was to do with taking non-prescribed medicine or playing a game of pickleball, I'd prefer to go with the toxicology report rather than what a TikToker says. So that's a bit more. That's the case there with Matthew Perry there, and people um, latching on to celebrities or heads of state as soon as they've passed away, and trying to make contact with them. Jonathan, how are you doing, Jonathan? I'm glad you're enjoying this. There it says, have you thought of expanding your investigation team as far where either would be happy to help? Jonathan, just I'll contact you after the show or tomorrow, and we'll have a little talk there. There might be something in that there as well, so it'd be great to meet you as well, So yeah, we'll talk about that very soon. There, I'll be in contact ASAP. So yes, I hope you're enjoying this. So this is the fourth part. This is the next bit is for about 7 minutes. We're coming up now from still talking about the present, but we'll be touching on a bit of the future now as well. So here we go. Yeah, dead on there, totally there, Jonathan. Yeah. There's no harm in trying, and it'll be great to meet you as well. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes there. Everyone's more welcome to join us there, and it's we're all open there. Anytime there, there's never a closed team. We've got good team members in our team there, but we're open to advancing with more as well. So here we go. This is the fourth part. 1 second there. We are live with a presentation. So here we are. For this end of the segment, we take a peek at how channeling and possession has changed, which might lead to the downfall of paranormal investigating. Globally, people channeling has been happening for centuries. The rise of spiritualism in the 19th century, the advent of advanced printing technology for large quantities of newspapers, followed by radio and television being introduced into our homes, has crucially grabbed our attention towards the field of mediumship and channeling. The mid-1800s saw the emergence of celebrity mediumship, with the Fox sisters, reputed to be the first mediums to demonstrate their abilities under the watchful gaze of a paying public. Nowadays, social media has cranked up the amount of people who partake in mediumship. It might be a wild guess, but the sum of people channeling might outreach the number of people watching and actually paying for their services. In the long term, everyone might be able to do it. With the advancement of science and further research into our cognitive and psi abilities. There is a close comparison with channeling and possession. Whilst channeling is believed to be an entity coming through a person for informative purposes, the latter, possession, is assumed to be an entity coming into the person to do harm. How do we separate them? Well, there are a whole range of complex issues that may lead to individuals thinking that they are being channeled or possessed. I won't go into them. One thing is for sure, occurrences of possession seem to be on the increase. Maybe it's to do with religious groups engaging with the wider population in persuading or brainwashing them into their faith, or it is simply to do with the wow factor, as we can see with some certain films, theatre shows and TV programs like Help My House is Haunted, for instance. I'd swear my public liability insurance has gone up because of these demons possessing Barry Kai. If the price of insurance cover goes further up in the future, or is even hard to come by, it may be down to these entertainers that paranormal investigating may suffer as a consequence. So we come to the final matter that may cause ghost hunting or paranormal investigating to be outlawed in the future. It might not have anything to do with witchcraft, fraud, or neglect of loved ones, but because of something else instead. We take a look at how artificial intelligence might make this happen. Take a look at this video.
When Michael Bomber found out that he was terminally ill with colon cancer, he spent a lot of time speaking with his wife about what would happen after his death.
She said, Michael, one of the things I'm really going to miss is talking to you. The sound of your voice.
That sparked an idea for Bomber. With the help of a friend based in the US, it took the 61-year-old entrepreneur 2 months to build an interactive AI version of himself.
We have you say 300 different phrases that capture, I'll call it your emotional voice. So sometimes you say, I love you, or you say, I love you. And they say, oh, the door's open. And we capture all that, and then we compress all that and make an AI out of it.
Bomber's AI voice, which cost $15,000 to set up, can answer questions and tell stories without regurgitating pre-recorded answers. He's excited about his digital immortality. His wife, however, is more apprehensive.
I think to myself, I'd rather be sitting here with his favorite jumper, with a glass of wine, than feel the need to talk to the AI. To begin with, I think. But like I said, who knows?
The rise of grief tech comes with many ethical questions. Should those grieving use AI to interact with lost loved ones without their consent? And despite providing comfort during a difficult time, could it prevent people from moving on?
This article was from over a year ago, and at the time, Michael Bomber put his faith into the program. He went to the CEO, Robert Lacasio, of the AI firm Etanos, for help in producing an AI afterlife version of himself. The reporter raises a fascinating issue: the possibility that consent will be needed by people before they die to use their identity and avatar. Will this have an effect on how we widely and openly communicate with loved ones in the future? There are other AI firms cashing in on grief, which harness your soul for an interactive experience. Videos, photographs, documents, and certain questions can be asked for the AI software to save to a vault. And so when you die, these files can be downloaded by your partner, children, or generations further down the line. With the story file AI, by sharing your image, you can produce a conversation video using the Conversa program. Clients include Meta, and the company have used William Shatner to promote the product. I took some time to ask William a few questions. Okay, yeah, so I'll do that at the end. I think that's more fitting at the end to put that interview I did with William Shatner near the end, in case it's copyrighted. I'll get cut off in a minute there. Jonathan says, I studied about the Fox sisters and about Houdini. Yeah, they're interesting subjects there. Spiritualism with the Fox sisters. I think that's the main kind of celebrity kind of people that really got spiritualism on the move, getting paid, audiences paying to see what the phenomenon that was caused by allegedly Houdini as well. Great man, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, both friends at the start. I think he ended up not as friends near the end of their lives there. They both had a fascination, I would say. Well, definitely Conan Doyle, especially after one of his sons passed away, died in the war. I think it was the Great War, around 1914 and 1918. And Harry Houdini, yeah, he's like James Randi there, trying to debunk things there, James Randi with Uri Geller in more recent times. So yes, we're going to touch in the final bit there, just a quick summary of what could happen with the AI, and then we're going to go into the William Shatner interview there I did with him. Let me just put this in here, put this in here. And yeah, this is about 4 minutes long. Can communicating with an avatar which has an alternative consciousness to human be misleading? Can it produce false memories? Would the surviving partner or family member be more inclined to recognize their time subsequently with AI with more fondness or unfeeling emotions than when their loved ones were alive? For all intents and purposes, if we are talking about ethereal realms with intelligent energies or consciousnesses, then in the future we might have to choose who we want to spend eternity with: the soul of our loved one or their avatar. The same goes for residual energy. We hear of a train, car, and numerous other material apparitions, so why can't an avatar haunt our plane? Going back to the topic of AI, in the years ahead, paranormal investigators might have to seek permission to attempt contact with particular individuals. A possible clause might appear in law to prevent an individual's authorization to go after or chase people who have died. It would make channeling, mediumship, and possession even more complex. Who'd be chasing who? The whole process would have to be defined, but with difficulty to such a degree that it would probably be easier to ban paranormal investigating altogether. Depending on how publicly and accurate the deceased has portrayed their life and feelings, it may be judged differently by investigators. Therefore, defamation laws could halt any pursuit of change with the deceased's background unless the justice system decides otherwise. Yet AI avatars may pave the way for paranormal researchers to attain crucial information. Nonetheless, like bygone days and still today, history can be accessed through numerous other means. Social media for one, and we still have to be wary of deception and trickery. I'd like to take this time now to say thank you for watching the presentation tonight, and hopefully it gives a few ideas on laws in the past, the media today, and artificial intelligence in the future. Thank you. My name is Anthony Kerrigan of GhostÉire. Appreciate you watching. And yes, so thank you there, folks. There, I'm gonna. If you got any more further questions on that, or any ideas or thoughts there, yeah, the future of AI might have a considerable effect on paranormal investigating. Whether people will be allowed to do it, the laws coming in, especially you look at the Einstein files at the moment. You look at the Jimmy Savile case. Well, it was no case. But defamation might be regarded to those in the afterlife. Jonathan, loved it. Thank you. No worries, Jonathan. Stay tuned because we're going to do the William Shatner interview now very shortly. So actually, we'll do that now. So just hold on. You're going to hear what I asked William Shatner. Just get him up there. And if it goes off, don't worry. See you there. So here we are. Here's the man himself. I'm asking William a few questions. It's in two parts, so there's going to be a little break in between that. Hi, William. Is there a funny story about Star Trek you want to tell us about?
I really can't answer that. It's the detail either I don't remember, or it's too small for me to talk about now. But I do talk about a great many things. I talk about my life. I talk about my kids. I talk about horses. I talk about God. I talk about nature. I talk about worms. I talk about octopus. I talk about the heavens. So many things you can ask me about, except that one.
William, is there an afterlife?
Well, we know that our elements recirculate. We go back to the original chemistry from whence we came, which is stardust. So eventually we end up back in the stars one way or another. For example, again, another song. I now want to be buried as a tree. They make pods, which you place the dead body, and then you bury it, and you put a tree to gain its roots on your body, and you live again through the tree. So I wrote a song called I Want to Be a Tree. And, you know, I started lightly, I want to be a tree, I want to be a tree. And then I end the song with, I want to be a tree. And I genuinely want to be a tree. I prefer a sequoia, but they can't see it. But, you know, one of those long-lived fir trees will do, pine trees. But I want to be a tree. That's how, I don't want a memorial, and here lies to be desecrated at some point in time. A tree. And renew the life force everywhere.
Okay, so that's the first part of that question. So I'm just going to go to the second part of that question, and he's going to deliver his final answer there.
So, life after death. I don't think there's a heaven where the bad are punished and the good are rewarded and the pearly gates. That's not in my belief system. There are Eastern religions who think of reincarnation. And as long as it isn't like your spirit enters a cow or something like that, I think reincarnation is closer to the truth. But reincarnation through the evolution of billions of years of disintegration, there's a theory of chaos, the chaos theory. So the law of it's chaos. I'm trying to think of the word. It'll come to me. Anyway, life is chaotic, turmoil, turgid. Everything is changing all the time. So your body changes the earth, chemical patterns, eventually goes into space, eventually becomes part of a star, the star explodes, it sends new nutrients out into we think we know, the cycle of a life's birth and death and how it evolves. And it's always evolution. Things are changing and renew. It's cyclical. The universe is cyclical. That much I believe, because it seems obvious, seems the way to go. Everything else in the universe is logical that we see, has a logic to it. There's a logic to being cyclical. You renew. There's no new matter or energy. Imagine him thinking about, Einstein thinking about this, there's a limit to energy and matter. How would he know that back then? In any case, that seems to be the case. The energy and matter renew each other. Energy becomes matter and matter becomes energy. And so your bodies will follow that dictate, I think.
Yeah, so it's an interesting part which William says there, and I suppose it's to do with, like Einstein said about energy. That energy is always um, uh, reincarnated, or it goes on. People may misinterpret that as in the paranormal field, where those more into the spiritual side would say that there is ghosts, whilst humans as well do leave a physical detail after death, and that's to do with the body, the mass, the going into the earth, or going back into the earth as gases, liquids, and solids, uh, and maybe hopefully into stardust, which is what William is talking about there. If there's any more questions, feel free to do. I'm just going to say who's coming on the next show of the GhostÉire channel. It is with immense joy we welcome Associate Lecturer and Independent Researcher Dr. Ursula Volsky onto the show. There will be discussion on researching the paranormal researchers, country ethnic differences in the paranormal field, and investigation process. So that's all on the next show of the GhostÉire channel. That's Friday, August the 1st. I think it's Friday or Saturday, August the 1st. I forget now what day of the week it is, but it's on August the 1st at 9 p.m. Jonathan says, I want to be a tree. Exactly, I want to be a tree there. I think William Shatner did do a song called I Want to Be a Tree. I'm not too sure. I must look that up after doing that. Now, if you look at that interview now, that was using AI. I didn't personally myself interview William, but I used the technology of AI, which is very interesting, to ask him the question. And you could ask, as he said at the beginning, and I gave that little bit at the beginning, where he says that he could talk about anything you want to talk there about. And yeah, asked about Star Trek. Probably he's legally not allowed to talk about that, but he could talk about anything else. Put it forward. If you want to try it, look at Story File, and interesting. I'm not totally against AI, because we definitely use it in our daily lives. Everyone uses it. I don't think we use an A to Z map anymore. So to get around there, so it's something that can be influential medically as well, and that saves a lot of time on other aspects. Also, unfortunately, a lot of jobs go out of it as well, but then other jobs can be produced with it as well. So yes, I hope for you. Thank you if you've all been watching, and I hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to sign out now, and if you please share it away if you feel that there's anybody interested in this kind of subject matter. It'd be great for them. Hopefully they'll be interested in it. So I won't see you next time. I'll see you in the near distance. Goodbye for now. Carry on waving. Ventriloquism.